when we think about disease, what is the real causal level of that disease? And it's now no secret that in trying to understand and develop cures and treatments for something like cancer, we're still treating cancers, basically by hitting them with stuff that's going to kill off everything, and we hope that it'll kill them more than anything else, or just cutting them out. And in fact, we know cancer is due to mutations in our genes. So cancers, they all pretty much do the same thing, which is to proliferate. And they don't just proliferate madly; they actually proliferate in some sense quite sort of intelligently. All these different mutations can cause that because ultimately what they do is cause some dysfunction in the way the cell cycle, the replication cycle of cells is regulated. But we now know that there are some cancers, they're not even related to genetic mutations. Quite recently, people have reported cancers that seem to come about. There's no change in the genes, there's no mutations. It's in the way the genes are controlled by what are called epigenetic markings, kind of basically chemical groups that are stuck onto them that regulate them. That in itself can cause cancers in some cases. So we need to think about what's really causing these cancers. When we see it as a cell level phenomenon rather than a gene level phenomenon, one relatively new approach is to start saying, well, what's really happening is that these cells have gone into a different cell state. Not we can think of it as a defective one if we like, but actually it's just one of the possible states that our cells have. It just happens to be one that can kill us. So if we understand those transitions between different cell states and what controls them, can we switch them back again? Instead of killing them off, can we reverse that process and reverse the cancer cells back into a healthy cell state? Or perhaps direct them into a state where instead of proliferating, they just sit there and don't do anything and eventually die. And this is an approach called differentiation therapy, differentiation being this transition from one cell type to another. So, there we're not doing anything to sort of horribly try to kill, as many cells as possible. Could potentially be a gentler way that is just guiding the cells back into a non-pathological state. And that comes about from thinking of cancer at the causal level of cells and a sort of cellular dysfunction rather than genes.